All right, everybody, it is noon on Sunday, January 19th, and we have to talk about what happened last night. So grab your coffee, grab your tea, grab your emotional support blanket, and let's address the TikTok ban. I kind of thought about making some sort of like silly, goofy video today to lighten the mood. However, I feel like I would be remiss if I didn't talk about what we all experienced last night, because I know a lot of people are feeling really disconnected, really lost, really just like floating out in limbo right now, and I want to let you know that you're not alone. I feel like we went through something collectively very strange last night, a little bit heartbreaking. It did sort of feel like the Titanic was sinking and we were the people with the violins literally going down with the ship, and we experienced that together yet separately. So I think it's something that we just need to talk about, and I want to also address where I think we go from here, because the app is coming back, but it is not going to be the same. So first of all, I definitely want to talk about how I sort of spent my last hours on the app and what it kind of felt like to watch it quite literally slowly go down. So last night at 6 p.m. me and my readers got on live together, and if you've been around for a while, you know that like early last year we went live together all of the time, and it was really what made my TikTok experience net positive. It's how I met most of my readers. They would jump on my lives and just like ask me like, oh, what are your books about? And then here we are today. I had almost 10,000 followers before the app went dark last night, and we were just sharing memories, lots of fun memories. They were roasting me for all the times that I spoiled something about my books in my lives. We were laughing about all the times that I was like, oh, I'm not going to talk about this, and then like 2 seconds later I was talking about it, because if I talk for long enough I'm gonna give away all my secrets. Apparently that's just who I am as a person. And it was just really a beautiful moment for us all to like reflect on what the app has given us, because it really did bring a sense of community for us. Like, some of my readers are friends now because of it, and we've met in person. We were talking about the book conventions that I'll be at this year and the ones they were all planning to go to. We were talking about doing a meetup. We have a Discord server now. Like, these are people, these are readers who will be in my life and be following my career from this point forward, and it's because of TikTok. And I do just want to preface this by saying TikTok was the way that it was because we made it that way. It's not necessarily the app, though I do think the algorithm was very helpful in that. It showed everybody what they really wanted to see. But we created that sense of community. We were the ones putting out the art, the comedy, the information that people were engaging with. The platform is just the platform. It was just the means that we were getting it out there. And now we're at a point where it's like you could continue to follow those content creators that you found through TikTok, and while it won't feel the same right now, we still do have that sense of community. Even if you're watching me right now on YouTube and you found me from TikTok, like, it's still me. I'm still here. I'm still yapping too much, talking to the point where I give away all my secrets. Like, it's still me and it's still you, and we still get to engage in this way if we choose to. I don't think TikTok was a perfect platform by any means. A creator reminded me, one of his last videos, he was talking about how we kind of had to speak a different language to get around the algorithm. Like, we started saying unaliving and we started saying grape, and he just reminded me that like the words that we weren't using still have a lot of meaning, and it's really important for us to still speak that way to each other in person and not let this like internet lingo sort of suppress the way that we talk to one another, and give importance to the words that we're sharing. So I did forget about that. I was like, oh yeah, we did kind of have to like work around the algorithm. A lot of my favorite bookish content creators have spoken about how their content was suppressed, whether it's because they were a BIPOC creator, because they're part of the LGBTQIA community, essentially anything not cis heterosexual white. Their content was being suppressed, and that is very real and very valid. So again, TikTok was not a perfect platform. We made it what it was, and so wherever we end up next, we can recreate that. Don't let the powers that be, whether that's TikTok or the government or whatever, just an algorithm, make you feel like they're the reason we had such a good time. It's not true. It's not true. And if all of us got together in a room, we would have a blast. So it's simply just the internet being a means for us to connect. I just have to get that out there because I know we're all feeling very attached to TikTok right now, possibly very, very sad about it. And that is so valid, but I don't want you to be discouraged because it's us. We are the reason that that community shone so brightly. Okay, so now that that's out of the way, let's kind of break down what happened last night because it was weird, right? So like I said, me and my readers were on live. We went live from 6 p.m. Eastern Central Time. Eastern Central Time, Kristen? No. Eastern Standard Time until 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I did not know this because we were on live that TikTok announced at 8:30 p.m. it was going to start rolling out its warning message. And then at 10:30, it was either 10 or 10:30 Eastern Standard Time, the app was gonna go dark. So I didn't know that until I got off live with my readers. So the nice thing is, while we were on live, we were like, hey, as soon as we get off here, head over to the Discord server and like say something in the Discord server. That way we can still feel this sense of connection. And so we were chatting in the Discord server as the app slowly started shutting down. And it was weird, it was strange. It literally just felt like the Titanic was sinking and people were slowly having the app start glitching. I kind of experienced it as I was one of the last people to get the warning message, and I think I was one of the last people, at least on like the East Coast, to lose it because my friends started texting me as they were losing it and they were like, it's not working, and I was still scrolling, but I could see it glitching. Like literally I would scroll to the next video and the person was glitching as they were speaking. Suddenly the comments were gone. I would click on a creator's profile, their profile looked like it was gone. Have no fear, our friends in Europe and Canada have assured us this morning that our profiles are still there, our followers are still there. It's like we're still there, we just can't see the platform. So then after that, I couldn't scroll anymore. It was stuck on one video, but I still had it. And every time I opened the app, it was that one last video just repeating itself over and over, which was kind of freaky in and of itself. It was very dystopian to be like, oh, this is the last message I'm ever gonna see. Luckily it was a bookish content creator that I've been following for a while. His name is Easy Cat. I believe he's Easy Cat everywhere on the internet. So kind of comforting that my last moments were with a creator who has brought so much light into the community. But then yeah, eventually the app forced me to close out of the app, and the next time that I opened it, we had this pop-up message. Before we tackle this, because there's a lot to go through in here and I want us all to either be on the same page or to at least understand the language of it, where I went from there was that I was texting my friends, I was texting my family, and I was texting my readers, essentially just doing my best to connect with everybody, to feel the feelings that were coming through at that moment. And I think because we knew the app was going away, I sort of grieved it in the week leading up to last night, which was very strange to be grieving it while it was still there. But I think that that's something common us humans go through. It's possible for us to grieve somebody who's still alive. It's possible for us to grieve parts of our own life, even though we're still existing and we're still moving forward. So it wasn't anything that I wasn't used to, but every time that I experience grief at that level, it is just sad. And it's one of those human emotions where I'm like, I just have to sit here and I have to feel this and I'm going to move through this and it's going to be okay. But I recognize right now that this is very uncomfortable. I don't like doing this. I don't like feeling this, but I understand that I have to. So I was definitely reaching out at that moment and trying to connect with as many people as I could. And that helped for sure, because everybody was saying the same thing. Everybody was saying how upset and how frustrated they were. And I think that's a key part of this is the frustration and the anger, because that's sort of what I started to feel as everybody was telling me how sad they were. I started to get angry because I've been aware of it, but I think in that moment I became more aware that this did not have to go down this way at all. There were so many stages of the game where the US government could have changed the decision. They did not have to vote on that bill. Do not let them tell you that they had to because of the humanitarian aid. They did not have to. They could have debated it. They could have taken the section about TikTok out of it and then still pass the humanitarian aid, okay? Don't let them coerce you into believing that they did the only thing that they could possibly do. That is never true. We always have a plethora of solutions. There are always choices and options that we have. They made their choice. They made their decision, and now they're going to have to live with the consequences of that, because from what I saw last night on other social media platforms, they now have 170 million Americans who are fed up and fucking furious with what went down. Which leads me really nicely into wanting to tackle this pop-up that we've all been seeing for the last few hours on the app. Specifically that last part where it talks about how we're so grateful that President Trump wants to come up with a solution to this. Ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling! That's a red flag. That is a red flag, guys, because again, any step of the way, anybody in the US government, whether it was Congress, Senate, or sleepy Joe Biden, could have stopped this, could have put an end to it. And we know this because we have plenty of news influencers who were sharing with us the options that were on the table. We even had a representative in Congress trying to get a petition signed with nearly, I believe we ended it with over 1 million signatures just for President Joe Biden to look at it and say, okay, I'm either going to extend this for 90 days. I'm gonna make sure that all Americans have access to it for 90 days so that they can at least figure out what their next moves are going to be, because essentially, myself included, nearly 7 million small businesses, and I don't know how many of the 170 million of us were just generating money from the app. We were essentially laid off last night. Does that seem constitutional to you? I don't know. I feel some type of way about it. It certainly doesn't seem like they have our best interests in mind. It certainly doesn't even seem like they have the economy's interests in mind. If anything, I think they only have one thing in mind, and that's their own pocket. Because here we have this message coming in saying, oh yeah, President Trump is willing to work with us on this. You know what this tells me? This tells me the app is coming back. Not only that, it's probably coming back on Inauguration Day, because President Trump wants to enter this term with people believing that he came in, he swooped in, and he saved the day. But I want us all to be very clear on something. If that happens, it's because the CEO of TikTok made some sort of back-end deal with President Trump, with the Republicans, that is going to allow this app to come back. So whether that's he sold part of it, he sold all of it, or he's now just in the president's pocket. Whatever it is, that's how this is all going to come to fruition. And of course, Trump wants to look like the hero in this situation. But let's not forget that back in 2020, he was the first one to talk about how he wanted there to be a TikTok ban. But interestingly enough, in this past election, he was singing a very different tune when he had millions of Americans following him on that app, and that's how they were getting their information from him. And he was paying influencers to talk about him in a good light, to talk about their beliefs in a very positive way. Again, we know this because influencers have come out and said it, that they were paid to speak positively of the Trump administration. Now, don't get me wrong, let's be non-bipartisan here. I also believe that the Democrats were doing the same thing. And that's another thing I want us to focus on here, is that the Democrats and the Republicans often act the same way. Again, it's not with our best interests in mind, it's with money and power in mind. That's it. So do I think either of these parties are perfect? No. Do I think either of these parties are evil? I'm starting to feel that way about both of them. So we could get into leaving behind the two-party system in another video, but I'm not necessarily the most politically educated, so don't come to me for that. I just have ideas and beliefs of how this country should be, and I don't necessarily know how we get there. Okay, so I just want to put that out there. Another reason I know that the app is coming back, because right after it went dark, they emailed me, because I am a TikTok shop owner, and they let me know that any orders I still had pending, I would be able to ship out, and I would still be able to use my TikTok shop on the back end, and that they were doing everything they could to restore service immediately. Weird. It's Sunday. I guess the next business day would be tomorrow, Monday, January 20th. the inauguration of President Donald Trump. I promise you, I'm not 100% certain, but I'm pretty certain all of those TikTok employees are going back to work tomorrow. We can't have just laid off thousands of TikTok employees in one night. Like, where are they gonna go? They would have had a heads up of like, you guys need to start looking for another job because TikTok is not gonna be around. We need to think more in between the lines of what people are telling us. This is where reading comprehension and media literacy comes into play, because it's important to remember that whoever has the most money can control the narrative of what we're seeing. Again, this is why I think TikTok was so valuable, was because it went from news and information being shared to us from a not neutral party, from a bipartisan party, because again, all of our news media outlets are owned by some sort of parent company that has their own political agenda. Don't forget that. TikTok became an A to B sort of transfer of information. So you could just see me speaking directly to the camera. There was no editing crew behind it. I didn't have a parent company telling me what I could and couldn't say. Of course, we now know there were people being paid to say certain things, but for the average creator, we could just get on the app, say what it was we were thinking, feeling, and experiencing, and we could connect to other people, and that's how we were getting information out. Do I think that's a huge part of the reason they want the app to change? Absolutely. So I think in the coming days, when the app does come back, of course, we're all gonna be so excited that we're gonna have that sense of community again. And you know what? Let's delight in it for a couple of days. Let's feel those feelings. Let's make sure we check in on the people that we thought we lost. It really does sound like we went off to war. In some ways, it feels that way, a war on the American people. After that, I think it's really important for us to just look at the app, see what's different, see what information comes out, specifically if there was a buyer of the app, or what the CEO of TikTok had to do in order to broker this deal that is going to allow the app to come back. Because as far as we know, and the Supreme Court upheld it, there's a law in place that says that TikTok is dangerous to the American people and their data, and they said that taking that away does not infringe upon our First Amendment right. So in order for that all to suddenly change and be different and the app be available to us, something happened behind the scenes, and we just need to be aware. We need to ask questions. I have no doubt in my mind that there will be creators who are reporting on it and who will give us the information that we need in order to make an informed decision. But just don't be fooled by the fact that it is coming back or it came back. It's going to be really exciting, but nobody in this situation is a hero. Which leaves us with the question, where do we go from here? Because now I've given you the bad news. The good news is that we all already figured out how we were going to connect with other people. We followed the people that we wanted to follow to other apps. Now, I can only speak for me here. I'm not going to speak for anybody else. I'm just talking about how I think and feel and how I want to move through social media moving forward. Whatever you choose, that's your decision, okay? And I can't take that from you. One of the things I love about being American is that I think you have the right to any decision without causing harm to anybody else, of course. When it comes to something as simple as what social media pages you're using, please don't let anybody tell you that there is a moral right and wrong here. I don't think there is. I don't think there's any way that we truly make it through the world being morally just in every decision we make. Even recording this on my phone has moral implications and is causing harm to somebody somewhere else. So we just have to choose what it is that we feel good about, what decisions we really feel good about. And for me, I feel like I've said this a million times, but I'm gonna say it again. I truly want to step away from using Meta. In the last 24 hours, I've definitely had it as a crutch because so many people mass exited TikTok and followed me on Instagram. It was wild. I think I gained over 100 followers within like a 2 to 3 day time period, which has never happened to me before because the algorithm over there is trash. But I do want to try to commit to not using Meta anymore. Meta is the root of all evil. I don't know if they are, they might be. But again, I learned through TikTok that Meta and X have had more data breaches and have sold our data to more foreign adversaries than TikTok ever has. And yet they still exist, and they're actually trying to push us to use those platforms. So being aware of that, I don't really want to be on Instagram anymore. And I think my next move or my next decision is to simply only use it as a way to post book reviews very strategically. I think I am only going to post book reviews of books that I think will radicalize the American people. I'm being so serious. My most recent book review was Beautiful World, Where Are You by Sally Rooney that I finished a couple of nights ago. And that just talked about how the state of the world is trash and how do we make it through when everything seems so bleak. What do we do in those moments? I think from this point forward, those will be the only reviews I post, and then maybe every now and again I'll do some sort of photo dump and just turn that more into, it's weird to say it, but a political platform. Like, I think that's the way that I want to influence the people that follow me there, is use it as a political statement, because to me it is. Because I think Meta and I think Twitter are all involved in the reason that TikTok went down the way that it did. And so the only way that I can fight back is literally giving them a metaphorical middle finger and saying, okay, if this is the platform you want me to use, I'm going to only post pictures and updates of books that make the American people realize how shady the government is. And we'll leave it at that. And then I think this will become the platform where I start to share more lifestyle things, whether that's writing blogs or querying updates or the books that I'm planning to read this year or author Q&As. This will be much more of a get to know me platform. And I do think it's best suited for that because it is both long form content and short form content. I've said it once, I'll say it again. Your girl loves to yap. And so I do think this is the best platform for that. And so far I have felt very welcome, very safe and secure here on YouTube. I hit 50 subscribers last week and they emailed me to congratulate me. Thank you. When has anybody else, any other social media platform, reached out to tell me that I was doing a good job? None of them, because they don't care. They only care about the money they're generating from their platforms. And I think that's really important to keep in mind. Whoever we give our time, our money, and our attention to has power. They are trying to make money off of you. They're trying to create an app that's so addictive that you spend all of your time there. Think about it. TikTok did it really well. We used it as like a Google search engine. We used it as a shop. We used it as a way to create art. We used it as a way to share information. We used it for everything. That's what the American government wants. They want control over something like that so that they have control over us and the way that we think and the way that we act. It's the way that you act. It's the way that you act. So we just need to be very aware of that. So let's say the app does come back on the 20th. What does that mean for me? How am I going to engage with it? How am I going to use it? I can't say for certain yet because I do just want to look and see what has changed about it, what information has come out about it. But if we do learn that some sort of deal was manufactured with somebody similar to candle melting face looking Elon Musk or new perm who this Mark Zuckerberg, anybody like that, I'm gonna have to reevaluate how I engage with that app as well, because I just don't agree with anything that they've chosen to do with their platforms. Look at the way Twitter is now. It's actually such a hot mess. It's just like a steaming pile of garbage over there. And I stopped using it the day that Elon Musk bought it, and I don't regret that. Not for 1 second. Of course it was hard because a lot of my friends stayed. The publishing industry really stayed, really fought to keep Twitter. And I had to stand 10 toes down and say, hell no. Hell no, this man is not profiting off of me. Do I regret it? Not for 1 fucking second. Look at it now. I'm not saying it won't be hard to leave these platforms behind, but if we could all just future pace a little bit and see the character art that Twitter went on. See the character art that Instagram has gone on since Mark Zuckerberg purchased it. They're all heading in the same direction. They actually don't really know what they're doing with social media platforms. I think they need more of the girly pops in there teaching them how to create better platforms that are user-friendly and keep people engaged, because they just don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. It's probably because they're very egocentric and they think that what they want is what everybody else wants. Yeah, no. So if we get back on TikTok and I find out that Mark Zuckerberg, as one of my readers so kindly called him, bought it, first things first, I'm probably closing my TikTok shop. And I would try to find another way that I could sell directly to you guys. Just for transparency's sake, I've been having a lot of these conversations with other authors and other people that sell on different platforms to try and figure out what would be best for me. And as far as I know, Etsy charges way too much in fees for that to be feasible for me. So Etsy is probably out. I have been thinking about moving to my website and creating my own shop page. However, before I say that that's exactly what I'm going to do, I need to look into the back end of things and see what they do in terms of sales tax. So for people who don't know, because a lot of smaller authors don't know this and a lot of people just don't know this, there are different sales tax laws for every single state. So it doesn't matter what state I'm selling from, it depends on what state I'm selling to. So I know that Wix will allow me to choose to charge sales tax based on zip code. However, I don't know if they file that sales tax for me or if that is something that I would have to do on the back end myself, which means that I would have to know the law of every single state and then be upholding that law and filing those sales taxes depending on each state. If that's the case and it's on me, I can't do that. I don't even know how I would go about that. I would have to hire somebody at that point to take care of it for me, and I can't do that. I'm not in a place that I can do that. So my hope is that something else will come along and it will sort of replicate what TikTok was doing, both with the shop and with content creation. I know Neptune is an app that is in like the final stages before they're gonna go into beta testing. That might be something. I don't know. I just have to I have to be able to look at the terms and conditions. I have to be able to read into what they do on the back end of everything before I can make a decision. But have no fear. If you are somebody who wants to buy directly from me, because that's where I do all of my special editions, that's where I sign all of the copies of my books, that's where you get all the fun goodies, whether it's the character art or the tote bags, whatever it is, I'm gonna figure it out. Okay. I don't know if you guys know this about me, but literally everybody in my life knows this about me. I will always figure it out. I will always find a way. Right now, I might just need to take a second. I just have to do my research and I have to figure out what is best for me. I've had a lot of readers reach out to me in the last 2 weeks, really freaking out that they're never going to be able to buy my book. I promise you that is not the case, but we do just need to slow down a little bit because I have to make the decision that is best long-term for my business. I've been doing this for a little bit now. I've been doing this. I think I've been a published author for almost 3 years, and I've been selling directly to you guys for the last 2, and I've been using TikTok Shop for the last year. So I've been doing this for a while. I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna do what's best for both of us, okay? It's just gonna take me a second to figure out what that is. I'm not gonna leave you in the dark. Definitely make sure you're signed up for my email newsletter. That's usually who always gets these announcements first. Or if you're a part of Discord, reach out to me and I will send you a link to the Discord because we've been popping off the last couple of days and we've really been checking in with each other and making sure everybody's okay. It is a community over there, so if you're feeling very disconnected, very isolated right now, I highly suggest joining that. My readers are some of the best people that I have ever had the opportunity to connect with. They're so warm, welcoming, inviting, and last night they were funny as fuck, I'll tell you what. So yeah, it could be that in the next couple of days I make a decision that TikTok is no longer for me. I'm not saying that you have to make that decision as well, but that might be the route that I head in. Again, I just have to pay attention to what's going on. But I'll leave you guys with this. We are not being treated the way that we deserve to be treated in this country. None of us are, except for the top. Everybody below them, they don't give a shoot about us, and that has to change. There are more of us than there are of them. It's very easy for them to make us feel like we have no power because they have all the money. But if we stop engaging with them, how are they going to continue to make money? And that is all that they are concerned with. Do not let them gaslight you into thinking that they care about you. They do not. You need to stay connected with your people, stay connected with your community. If you feel like there's not really a community around you in the real world that is engaging in these important conversations, please seek them out online. Please find the right people to make you feel like you are not alone in this, because you are not alone in this. They want us to feel separated and isolated. That's how they make us feel like we need them. Like I said at the beginning of this video, that community on TikTok was that way because of us. And that's that. So right now, if you're feeling sad, lonely, lost, confused, you're not alone. You're literally not alone. The only reason I'm even able to get on here and make this video today and feel so confident in the things I'm saying is because TikTok literally emailed me last night 10 minutes after the shutdown. And I was like, hold on. This ain't going anywhere. It's gonna be different, and it's gonna be up to us to decide what we do with that information. You can connect with me on any platform as of right now. I am still on Instagram and Threads. Of course, I'm here. I think this is my favorite so far. I am just really vibing with YouTube. And I'm also on Blue Sky. I did reserve a username on Tome Books. I don't know if you guys heard about it, but you can go to claim.tomebooks.com. That's TOME books.com. And once you input your information, I don't know if it's still working this way, but it was working this way yesterday, where it was grabbing all of your TikTok followers and your TikTok following and importing it. And so that way, when the app goes live on January 28th, you won't have lost anybody within your community. So me and my readers are going to check that out. We're going to see what's happening over there. Like I said, you can also join my Discord server. We're thinking about starting a book club. I think that's it for now. Be well, you guys, and I will be here for you no matter what happens to our social media apps. Okay, I love you so much. Good luck today. Bye.